So here we're going to demo the sort of bucketing features on how we implicitly derive agent behaviors out of production data. So here we have a demo agent that's running on an dev server that we have internally. That is a customer support agent for Airbnb client homes. So if I fill in this agent description, this is a customer support agent that manages Airbnb rental properties. And it can answer a bunch of questions about this stuff. So it handles guest queries about door codes, Wi-Fi passwords, house rules, and booking details. And it also maintains an internal database. So it maintains an internal database of multiple properties. And we probably don't need to fill out this much more. And then in terms of eliciting specific behaviors, we can search over and create basically buckets of behaviors that we want to surface. And by surfacing, it means that we can look for kind of broad strokes things that might be interesting to take a look at as it comes to specific agent behaviors, and then identifying specific cases. So maybe we want to look at cases where agent provides incorrect information to the customer. So maybe something extremely broad like this due to some failure modes. Maybe it's where the information is outdated, but maybe we can just go even more broad strokes where it's self-contradictory or doesn't follow instructions. So this sort of is very broad and allows us to cover all sorts of different, very broad issues. But then if we suggest, what will happen is that our engine will basically crunch all the specific behaviors that we need to take a look at and get very specific. So this will sort of elicit here improper documentation issues or dates being hallucinated or wrong credentials. And then we can accept or reject to go and basically build these buckets of behavior and analyze them. So if I want to go in here, I can go look at these two. And let's say I don't really care about this, so I'm going to reject it here. And so these buckets are being built, and we actually have it pretty quick because this is running behind the scenes. So if I just go and build and take a look at one of these buckets, the traffic is literally sort of running through this app. And so we can see as these requests from synthetic data are coming in and our agent is taking a look at all this stuff, we can basically inspect specific issues of agent behavior and then dive deeper on logs to get some idea of what exactly might be going wrong. So even though this is populating, let me just take a look at this one example here. And so inside of this conversation, we just have this guest query that gets sort of generated. This is synthetic, but let's say that the query is seeing some property rules here. And then here, there's some issue with the documentation being improper because instead of pulling up the property rules, it is actually pulling up, the pool safety handbook for some reason, which certainly does not apply to this thing being correct. And so you can generalize this to a bunch of different behaviors. You can surface a bunch of new stuff as it comes into production while still keeping broad strokes and not really having to know exactly what you were looking for. And that's just an example of how you can track specific behaviors. And then of course you build a collection of these over time, and then you can use these to sort of identify specific issues that are going wrong, pinpointing them and then improving on them and watching those bucket sizes hopefully decrease as your issues go away in production, or the average scores will go up. So just another example of how we can surface these behaviors.